Readings of Almighty God's words on the pursuit of the truth. How to pursue the truth. 15. 3. The third characteristic, evil. Having finished fellowshipping on the manifestations of deviance in those who are reincarnated from devils, let us now fellowship on another one of their manifestations, evil. The manifestations of evil have similarities to those of deviance, but there are also differences. Manifestations of deviance do not conform to the thinking, conscience, reason, or instincts of normal humanity, nor do they conform to the various innate conditions of normal humanity ordained by God for created human beings. Rather, they exceed these various innate conditions of normal humanity. The overall manifestation is being abnormal, supernatural, extreme, and bizarre. That is to say, people with the reason and conscience of normal humanity find such individuals very strange, both in terms of their manifestations and behaviors, as well as their thoughts and viewpoints. You simply cannot fathom why they would think or act that way. Now, through fellowship, you understand. So where does the root lie? It lies in their nature essence and their attribute as devils. These are basically the manifestations of deviance. However, the evil of devils involves not just some commonly seen outward manifestations. Rather, it directly involves this type of person's attitude toward the truth. It is even viler and more serious than deviance. The manifestations of evil are, of course, also characterized by how such people treat the truth. Firstly, those who are devils are hostile to the truth. This is the first manifestation of evil. The second manifestation of evil is that, in addition to having an attitude of hostility toward the truth, devils also proactively attack it. The third manifestation of evil is that, in addition to being hostile to and attacking the truth, devils go a step further and want to replace the truth. Their manifestations of evil will never stop merely at the level of being hostile to and attacking the truth. Rather, on the foundation of these two manifestations, they also want to replace the truth. This is their essence. Many of the manifestations of evil in devils are the same as the manifestations of those with the essence of antichrists, which we have fellowshipped on before, so there's no need to delve into these aspects. Today, we will mainly dissect these three manifestations of evil in devils: being hostile to, attacking, and trying to replace the truth. A. Being hostile to the truth. First, let us fellowship on the manifestation of hostility toward the truth in those who are devils. We have fellowshipped on the topic of hostility toward the truth quite a bit before. This is not your first encounter with such a topic. The manifestation of hostility toward the truth is very evident in those who are devils. That is, they cannot accept any positive thing, anything that is correct and conforms to the conscience and reason of humanity, especially when it is something that involves the truth principles. They are even less able to accept it. Their inability to accept is not simply a matter of them shaking their heads and refusing. Rather, they feel revulsion and loathing in their hearts, as well as hatred. How deep is their hatred? If anyone fellowships on the truth specifically and with reality, they find that person displeasing. It's not just a little bit of jealousy, it's hostility. What is hostility? It means treating you as if you'd murdered their father. In fact, you may not have had any sort of deep interactions with them, nor do they necessarily know you. But if you understand the truth and fellowship on the truth, they feel revulsion in their hearts. They don't feel revulsion toward someone who speaks words and doctrines, but they are vehemently repulsed by anyone who fellowships on the truth with them, feeling as if it's killing them. Their hatred reaches this extent. What are their specific manifestations? When others fellowship on the truth principles or God's intentions, they become averse upon hearing it and cannot sit still. Some find an excuse and leave, while others even get up and walk out without any qualms at all. People with the conscience and reason of normal humanity, on the other hand, even if they don't yearn for or approve of correct words, especially those that conform to the truth, at most they will not accept them in their hearts, but they can still sit through it to save face. But those who are Satan's cannot sit still. As soon as they hear the truth, they feel revulsion and agitation in their hearts, and when they are so agitated, they cannot stay there. They make an exit. If they cannot do so, they go online to watch videos, let their minds wander and engage in some distracting actions, change the subject and engage in idle talk, or exalt and testify to their own glorious history while belittling and lecturing others. In short, if you fellowship on the truth, they feel revulsion. Their attitude toward the truth is one of extreme hostility. If you don't fellowship on the truth, but only fellowship about some administrative or general affairs work, share some anecdotes from preaching the gospel, or chat about external matters, they are able to sit still and chat along with everyone else, appearing quite harmonious. But as soon as the truth is fellowshipped, especially when God's words are read, their essence and their true face are brought to light. They become agitated, and if they listen even a bit more, they feel like their heads are about to explode. The more you read God's words, the more they feel like they're being judged, and the more they feel that they will be condemned and eliminated, and that their lives are at risk. The more you read God's words, the more revulsion and loathing they feel in their hearts, as if they have contracted some disease. Tell me, isn't this problem very serious? Can such people still be saved? Especially when it comes to practicing the truth and being an honest person. Those who pursue the truth because they want to be honest train themselves to speak truthfully and open up and lay themselves bare. When devils hear this, they feel revulsion in their hearts, despise you, and hate you. They feel that you're base for practicing the truth, while they're honorable and nobler and greater than you for not practicing the truth. What kind of viewpoint is this? Isn't this turning black into white? This is just how those who are hostile to the truth are. If you fellowship on the truth or on some principle of practice, they not only despise you in their hearts, but also feel averse to you. They won't even look you in the eye. If you want to discuss church work with them, they always avoid you. They don't want to talk to you, and they feel you two have nothing in common. You can chat with them about any topic, except those involving the truth or God's work of saving man. They don't want to discuss these topics. For example, if you say to them, "Let's fellowship on how to do our duty loyally and discuss what problems still exist in doing our duty at this stage and how to resolve them." Upon hearing this, they feel like their heads are about to explode. They feel extreme revulsion in their hearts, and their eyes might even blaze with fire as they become antagonistic toward you. They are willing to suffer any hardship to be loyal to Satan, but they are particularly repulsed by God and the truth, not accepting the truth in the slightest. No matter who fellowships on the truth with them, they can't take it in. If you ask them to study knowledge or famous literary works, they are very willing, feeling themselves to be very noble. But when they listen to sermons or others fellowshipping on the truth, it's as if they are being abused or tried in court. What they are most averse to is reading God's words and fellowshipping on the truth. Therefore, in their daily lives, while they will do some general affairs work and things that benefit their status, reputation, and prospects of gaining blessings, such people never read God's words or engage in spiritual devotion. They also don't fellowship on the truth during gatherings and never share their personal experiential knowledge. Their attendance at gatherings is merely a formality. If you ask them to fellowship on their knowledge of God's words or the truth, they can't utter a single word and feel revulsion in their hearts, thinking, "Fellowshipping on God's words and the truth is something for housewives and people from the lower rungs of society. How could a great figure like me do such things? I am someone who does great things and great work, someone who will receive great blessings. When I enter the kingdom, I will be a pillar and a mainstay in God's kingdom. I am one who shoulders great responsibilities. Who do you think you are? It debases me to even attend gatherings in the same church as you. Look how haughty they are." Their hostility toward the truth is hostility toward all people and things related to the truth, as well as practices and sayings related to the truth. They are even hostile toward positive things. B. Attacking the truth. When someone mentions that brothers and sisters in the church should have saintly decorum, that interactions between the sexes, whether at work or in daily life, should be conducted within certain boundaries, that everyone should be dignified and decent, not engage in reckless flirting, and respect relationships between men and women, and respect marriage, that one must practice in this regard according to God's words, and that God's house does not advocate sexual liberation. What will people reincarnated from devils think upon hearing this? That's an outdated saying, a cliché. What era are we in now? Still talking about saintly decorum and boundaries between men and women. In the past, emperors in their palaces had entire harems to themselves. How grand that was! If I had the ability and the means, even if I couldn't have a harem, I'd at least have a selection of people to hook up with. They never accept any positive thing, any correct saying, especially the words of the truth, and are even considerably repulsed by and hate them. Therefore, on the foundation of their hostility toward the truth, these people constantly attack the truth and positive things. No matter what aspect of the truth or what specific requirement of God is fellowshipped, they always have a set of heresies and fallacies with which to criticize and judge it. Is this criticism and judgment not an attack? No matter how many people accept the truth and positive things, they never will. They believe that what God's house advocates and what the truth requires people to practice are all slogans and formalities, and that what truly meets human needs are worldly trends. Whatever worldly trends advocate now, that is the highest truth. Isn't this revering evil? So, no matter what aspect of the truth you fellowship on, they are subjectively hostile to it, and furthermore, they will judge, attack, and blaspheme it. For example, God requires people to be honest. How do they define being an honest person? Being an honest person is for fools. Only fools practice being honest people. Only fools tell others what they think in their hearts, their private affairs. Only fools speak truthfully. Only fools entrust their destiny to others to control. I'm no fool. My destiny is in my own hands, and others have no right to interfere. Whether I want to say what I think in my heart or not, others have no right to interfere. If it's not something I want to tell people, don't even dream of knowing what it is. Isn't this being averse to the truth and hating the truth? People who are devils do not accept the truth and do not practice it. In addition to being hostile to and attacking the truth, they take it a step further and use various satanic poisons and viewpoints and practices from Satan to replace the truth. For example, they use schemes, lies, various means, or the facade of enduring hardship and paying a price to mislead others as conditions for gaining blessings and bargaining with God. They think that in believing in God, one doesn't need to be an honest person, doesn't need to be loyal to their duty, and doesn't need to accept and practice the truth. As long as one endures more hardship, pays a greater price, does more work, performs more good actions, and accumulates more merit, does more things that earn people's approval and high esteem, and through these means gains the trust of the brothers and sisters, as well as their exaltation and support, then they can achieve the goal of exchanging all this for the blessings of the heavenly kingdom. Isn't this viewpoint incredibly ridiculous? Whether it's judging and condemning the truth, being hostile to and attacking the truth, or always wanting to use Satan's heresies and fallacies to replace the truth, these are all specific manifestations of how devils treat the truth. Regardless of which manifestations they are, they all fully expose the evil essence of devils. Being hostile to the truth, attacking the truth, and trying to replace the truth, these are acts only devils can commit. Only devils treat the truth and God with such hatred, judgment, and condemnation, and are capable of stooping to any means to mislead, deceive, and entice people away from the truth and away from God. Only devils will think of every which way to fraudulently win people's trust, support, and praise, to achieve their goal of buying people's hearts and controlling them, in an attempt to replace God's place in their hearts. In short, the fact that devils adopt such an attitude toward the truth and toward those who pursue the truth exposes that their essence is evil. Positive things and the truth are what all created human beings yearn for and love, and they are also worthy of being cherished by people. Of course, they are also what created human beings need most. This is because the truth is an essential thing for mankind to break free from Satan's influence, walk the right path, and be able to fear God and shun evil. For normal people to attain salvation, pursuing the truth, accepting the truth, and practicing the truth is a necessary process. There is no other way. Even if it's difficult for them to accept and practice the truth because they have corrupt dispositions, from the perspective of their innermost being and their subjective will, they are not hostile to the truth. Their subjective attitude is not one that will be hostile to the truth, nor is it one of intentionally attacking the truth or trying every means to use any heresies and fallacies to replace the truth. Only Satan can do this. Its essence of hostility toward the truth is the same as that of the great red dragon. Whatever is a positive thing, whatever involves the truth, Satan denies, condemns, and rejects. Even if these truths pose no threat to it, it is still hostile to and hates them. This is dictated by its nature. Because devils have an evil nature, the truth to them is their enemy. What does the word enemy imply? It implies that enemies can never be compatible, never be friends, never be like-minded companions. This is like the great red dragon. It treats those who believe in God with particular hatred and hostility. As long as you stop believing in God and insult God, you can commit any evil in society. It doesn't care if you steal, rob, or engage in licentious activities. You can collude with it and do any bad thing. But if you believe in God and walk the right path, it will not allow it. It will arrest you, persecute you, and even put you to death. It simply won't let you exist. As long as you exist, you are a thorn in its side. Every day you exist, it feels distressed and uneasy inside. Only when it has destroyed you, when you cease to exist, does it feel victorious, at ease, and at peace. The attitude of those who are devils toward the truth is the same in nature as the great red dragon's hatred of the truth. If you pursue the truth, practice the truth, do everything according to principles, have a stance, and uphold principles, they will find you displeasing and hate you. If they become leaders and gain power, they will think of every which way to find leverage to torment you, and even frame you for some offense to cleanse you away. When those who pursue the truth are all excluded by them, and those remaining in the church are all muddle-headed people, and those who do not understand the truth in the slightest, they feel safe, that there's nothing to threaten them, and that their days are easy. Therefore, those who are devils are not only hostile to the truth, but also hostile to those who love and pursue the truth. Doesn't this show they have an evil nature? Some people, after being condemned, excluded, and tormented by devils, say, "I didn't offend them, but why do they find me displeasing?" Isn't this muddled talk? Isn't this failing to see through things and being unable to discern people? Does the great red dragon arrest and persecute Christians because Christians violate laws and commit crimes? Or because Christians participate in political activities to subvert it and seize its political power?
Neither.
Then why do they? We don't participate in politics, nor oppose or expose it, much less engage in political activities to seize its power. Then why does it suppress and arrest those of us who believe in God in this way? It's simply because you follow God, accept the truth, and honor God as great and worship Him that it hates you. It believes that you have betrayed it. You do not follow, worship, and submit to it, so it hates you. Thus, it wants to suppress and eliminate you, to achieve the goal of making you disappear. Simply because it is an evil devil, and it has the nature essence that is hostile to the truth. If you follow God, it will be hostile to you. It will hate you, and it will try every means to torment you, eliminate you, and snatch you away from God's side. This is its aim. If you stop following God, it will not be so hostile to you. Of course, it will still try to ruin, corrupt, toy with, and control you. If you can worship and follow it, then it will be pleased and will not torment you. But in the end, you can only be buried along with it. No one who worships Satan ever comes to a good end. Satan's nature of resisting God will never change. Why are those of Satan who are antichrists so hostile to the truth and to God? Tell me, just how evil is their nature essence? They do not accept the truth, God's work, any positive things, or correct sayings and practices, without exception. Not only do they feel revulsion in their hearts and refuse to accept them, but they also actively do evil to resist God, and spread various baseless rumors and fallacies to condemn the truth and positive things. Evil people like this also want to gain blessings by believing in God. They worm their way into God's house, but because they do not accept the truth in the slightest, they are revealed and eliminated. For example, accepting pruning is a positive thing. When normal people do wrong and are pruned, they will reflect on themselves. If their wrongdoing was due to wrong intentions or a corrupt disposition, they will seek the truth to resolve it. If their wrongdoing came about because their caliber is poor and they didn't see things clearly, they will also proactively seek a path to resolve it, finding people with good caliber who understand the truth to help and guide them. In short, under the guidance and regulation of their conscience and reason, they will treat being pruned correctly. But how do those who are devils treat being pruned? Devils themselves are hostile to the truth, but with their evil nature, they absolutely will not stop merely at hostility. They will also condemn, resist, and blaspheme the truth. So when they are pruned, they vigorously try to argue and defend themselves. Not only do they deny the truth, but they also attack and condemn those who prune them, and even spread such words. Believing in God is too hard. Those of us with poor caliber who don't understand the truth are just going to end up getting kicked out. It's not easy trying to live off God's house. People with poor caliber have no way forward. We can do nothing but be tormented by others. No matter how others mess with us, we just have to endure it. Who can we blame but our own poor caliber? If your caliber is poor, you're inferior to others. Not only do they not accept pruning or reflect on and know themselves, they also do not seek principles of practice or a path of practice to resolve this problem. If their caliber is indeed poor, then how can they, on the foundation of their inherent conditions, give their best to do their duty well and offer their loyalty? Would they think this way? They are hostile to the truth, so they absolutely would not think this way. What's more, they will crank things up a notch and engage in judgment and slander, even secretly cursing in their hearts those who prune them. You've made me uncomfortable today. One day I'll show you what's what. You think my caliber is poor? I've believed in God for many years, while you've only believed for a few. You find me displeasing? One day I'll make you suffer the consequences, make you die a terrible death. You see, when they're pruned, although they say nothing and even wear a smile, their hearts are brimming with resentment, hatred, and curses. Some people show their unwillingness to accept pruning, from time to time uttering words of complaint, attack, or judgment. Not only are they hostile to pruning, but they also take the initiative to attack those who prune them, refusing to let up on whoever does so. Some women may be somewhat petite and may appear quite delicate on the outside, but when someone truly prunes them, they fly into a rage. I've suffered so much believing in God for all these years. Has it been easy? You find me displeasing. Well, I was preaching the gospel back before you were even born. Are you trying to bully me just because I'm older? Let me tell you, that's not happening. Go ask around. Who have I ever yielded to in my entire life? Can people with this kind of disposition accept the truth? Definitely not. Not only do they not accept being pruned, but they also curse those who prune them. Aren't they too malicious? People who are devils and Satans are devious, slippery, treacherous, and cunning. Since their attitude toward the truth is one of hostility and attack, when their evil deeds are exposed and they face being cleared out or expelled with no hope of gaining blessings, they absolutely will not be so well behaved or docile, but will employ means to resist. Some fabricate lies, saying leaders and workers are tormenting them, inciting others to come to their defense, deliberately disturbing the church's work. Others feign submission, saying, "No matter how God's house treats me, even if I'm sent to a B group or cleared out, I'll still do my duty all the same. I am loyal to God, and I'll never ever deny this way or give up my duty." They present a facade to dupe people, making it seem as if they have repented, as if they can accept and submit no matter how God's house treats them and will not give up their duty. In fact, they are deceiving you and toying with you. They think to themselves, want to use me to render service? Fat chance. When I express my resolve to you and say I'm willing to do my duty, that's just a formality. I'm just fooling you. Outwardly, they appear particularly docile and obedient, making people think they are willing to do duty. But when you actually arrange for them to do duty, they are perfunctory, employ trickery, and deceive you, and even put on disappearing acts with you. It might be more than 10 days since they've been assigned a task, and there'll be no progress at all. Some people are ignorant and lack discernment, and they'll find this perplexing, thinking they were quite earnest when they agreed to do it, saying they were willing to do their duty. It didn't seem like they were lying. How come they're nowhere to be found now? Let me tell you the truth. They are just big con artists. They are devils. What do those who are devils regard doing duty as? They regard it as God's house, using them to render service, as toying with them. This is the mentality of those who are devils toward doing duty. What is there about you worth being used? At most, you understand a bit about a certain profession. If God's house has a need in the work of this area, at best, it means you are suited to do this duty. Using the matter of doing duty to measure you and make demands of you is an exaltation of you. If you refuse and do not accept, then you are failing to appreciate kindness. This is just how impervious to reason those who are devils are. They ask to do a duty, and when the church arranges work for them, they presume that God's house wants to use them. If you truly have some value to be used in the church, is this fortunate or unfortunate for you? Is it a misfortune or a blessing for you?
A blessing.
Why do you say it's a blessing?
Being able to render service for God is God's exaltation, so it's a blessing.
You must understand this. Rendering service for God is God's exaltation. What does exaltation mean? It means that you have this little bit of professional strength that can be put to use in the work of God's house, which is an opportunity God gives you, that God has given you an opportunity to render service for Him, an opportunity to attain salvation, and that this is a basic condition for you to be blessed. Only when you possess this basic condition can you have the opportunity to accept the truth and practice the truth step by step and attain salvation. If you have no redeeming qualities at all, then in God's house you are a good for nothing. Would God's house still provide for you for free? If there is no duty for you to do in God's house, then you lack a proper and reasonable vehicle and basic condition for maintaining a normal relationship with God. If you cannot be put to use in any specific work in God's house, it means you have not established any relationship with God, and thus you have no opportunity to come before God, no opportunity to accept any step or any period of the work God does to save mankind. Then, do you still have the opportunity and conditions to attain salvation? Therefore, if it is said that you have value to be used, this might sound uncomfortable in the non-believing world, and perhaps use is a negative term there. But in God's house, you have to look at who is using you. How should this use be interpreted? If God uses you, it proves that you still have some value and can still render service for God. When you render service for God, isn't this God exalting you? This is God giving you an opportunity, God exalting you. This is a good thing. It proves that God has some regard for you and is still willing to give you a chance. So, is being used by God shameful? Is it a loss? Do you suffer a loss in being used? Does it make you lose your pride or dignity? No, you gain much more. It gives you the opportunity to come before God to accept the truth and God's salvation. You don't suffer any loss at all. You gain a great advantage. But those reincarnated from devils do not see it this way. They have an evil nature. No matter how Satan uses and corrupts them, they have no objection. They are quite satisfied with it. If government officials use them, they consider it fortunate, a sign of prosperity. They do not discern, oppose, resist, or refuse it. But in the church, if they are promoted to do a duty, they feel it is rendering service, that they are selling themselves out, and that the church is using them. For example, a certain woman understands a bit about a certain professional skill, so the church arranges for her to do work in this area. Not only can she not accept it from God, but she also feels particularly repulsed in her heart. Trying to use me? Think again. I'm not that foolish. I've lived this long and never been used by anyone. The person who could use me hasn't even been born yet. You don't need to be so exasperated. If you are willing to do your duty, then accept it from God and do your duty well. If you are unwilling to do your duty, then leave God's house. The gate of God's house is open. You can leave at any time and go wherever you want. God bestows the truth upon people freely. God's bestowal of truth and His supply of life to people are all free of charge. Has He asked you for a single penny? You do a little duty, and yet you perceive it as being used by God. Isn't this lacking conscience, failing to appreciate kindness? So, what if God uses you? Is that wrong? Your very life was given by God. Is God not worthy of using you? Is He not qualified? Can you act high and mighty just because you understand a bit about a profession? Does God have to be obsequious, respectfully begging you, promising you things, holding you up and placing you on a throne? Would that make you happy? People without normal humanity cannot correctly understand the matter of doing duty. They always say, God's house is using me. I'm not that foolish. Only fools are willing to be used by God. You see, this thought is both deviant and evil, and utterly unreasonable. How should such people be treated? It's easy. Whether it's clearing them out or assigning them to a B group, just cleanse them away. If you're so afraid of being used, why do you still cling to God's house and say you want to do a duty? Isn't this being hypocritical and deceiving people? If you're afraid of being used, God's house will never use you to do a duty. God's house does not force things on people. Now is the time when each is sorted according to their kind. Whoever is willing to do their duty will remain. Whoever is unwilling to do their duty should quickly leave the church and never return. God's house does not compel anyone. Only those who willingly do their duty are God's chosen people. Those who are unwilling to do their duty are all servants of Satan, here to disturb the church's work. Some people want to gain blessings by doing their duty, but at the same time are afraid of being used. Are these people with conscience and reason? They are always afraid of suffering losses, always feeling that God's house is taking advantage of them, that they are suffering a great loss. Isn't this failing to recognize what's good for them? What loss have you suffered? If you try to exchange your technical skills for the truth and for salvation, I say you cannot make that exchange. You are not worthy. You are not qualified. God's words are life. They are the most powerful weapon for mankind to cast off corrupt dispositions and break free from Satan's influence. Only God's words, only the truth, can eradicate the old mankind which possesses the nature essence of Satan. Only God's life, only the truth, can allow this mankind to continue to survive and end Satan's destiny. God's life and the truth are priceless treasures. No material thing in the world and nothing people consider precious can be exchanged for them. Even if people offer their lives, they cannot be exchanged for them, much less can their meager technical skills. The truth is not for sale. God's house does not sell the truth, does not sell life. So just what can people do to gain life? Only by accepting the truth, submitting to the truth, offering their loyalty and sincerity to God, and fulfilling the duty of a created being, can they gain life.